G'day cuz, welcome back to the bush. Actually, Matt's camper again today. Now, as part of his Ayers Rock trip preparation, he wants to install a diesel heater, so we'll be doing that today. As well as a controller. Now, he wants to remote mount his controller, so we're going to do that. We're going to run the wires and put it in a more convenient spot. We also have to take care of the ventilation at either end, and we have the inlet, the fuel, and the exhaust. So first up, we'll mount the unit in, because the unit's position determines where all the wire and the ventilation goes. So let's get into it. Okay, we situated the heater where we think it wants to go. Obviously it's upside down at the moment. Now we have a plate which we've marked bottom and top, so we know which orientation that goes in, and we're going to have a look now underneath the camper to see if when we drill the holes if it's going to run into any frame members or anything. Alright, what we've done is we've got our mounting plate and we've marked halfway across there. We need a reference point to work out where we're going to drill from underneath, missing chassis members and all that sort of good stuff. And we've also measured halfway in between here and here because we want to centralise the unit inside the cavity here. So what we'll do is we'll drill a hole through and then we'll bring the plate underneath and we'll check that we're missing all the bits and pieces. Just a small pilot hole. Okay, so using our reference point here, we've managed to work our way around the chassis members and we've marked out all of our holes. Unfortunately it's not going to be central anymore because there's a dirty great big chassis reinforcing that runs right down the centre here. So we've had to offset it to the side slightly. I've marked them off as we can see here. So we've got all our markings and now we need to drill our pilot holes and then we'll go for the finishing size hole. Okay, now let's drill all our pilot holes. Now we've drilled our pilot holes, we're going to have to drill our final size holes. Okay, and now with the large auger bit, we'll drill through the plywood below. One down, one to go. Righto, now we've drilled those two holes. All we have to do is chamfer off the edges and the unit will be ready to bolt down. Okay, next thing we need to install is the outlet. Now, you want to make the curve, if you're putting a curve in the outlet pipe, as gentle as possible, so the radius as large as possible for the least amount of restriction. So we determined it's going through there, and we've measured up on the inside, so now I'll just drill from the back side. Now that's done, we'll get the hole saw and drill from the other side. Okay, now we'll pop the hole for the vent in. Let's hope we got the right hole saw size. There we are. Now all we need to do is secure it down. Okay, now we've drilled all the holes. Time for a quick test fit. There we go, fits like a glove. Obviously we need to put the plate underneath and we need to bolt it from the other side. But we're making good progress. Oh yeah, now we can put the vent in. That seems it'll work fine, but I'll burr all the edges first. Okay, now as you can see, we've inserted 3 cable glands along here So keep the dust out of this container here. This is for the power, this one's for the remote control, and this one's the power for the fuel pump, which will be mounted externally. And we've also put the silicone rubber booty on here, and now we'll just insert that. Okay, that's home and hose. Now we just need to secure it in from the other side. We'll run our outlet pipe here. We've already put our in-vent here. Connect up the wiring, and that's all we have to do for the box. So let's get into it. Okay, now all I have to do is connect up the outlet. I've already done one side, and this is the final side. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Well, actually diesel. So now, first thing we'll do is we'll mount the plate here for the controller, and we'll get that nice and parallel by using a spacer. There we go, and I've already put the other one in. Next thing up is the controller. That should just snap in there. Now we're going to need to put a hole in here for the wire to run through. Now of course, if you put a dirty great big hole in there, you're going to fit the connector through, but that's going to look a bit dodgy. So what we're going to do is we're extending it anyway, so we have to put another plug on there. So we're just going to chop it off. Don't forget to keep this in so you know which orientation the wires go through. We'll drill a hole through there and we'll run the wires in. Okay, so we want a little bit of a radius on the wire, but not too much. So move this out the road. And better to start too small than too big. No, we might have to go up one size. Alright, so we'll increase the size a little bit. And we'll see if we can push it through. Yep, that's a good snug fit. No worries. Now we have to do the termination on the inside. Okay, so we're on the inside of the bed now, and we're just going to drop a bit of a hole down here in preparation for putting the gland through from the other side. Now we've already checked below and made sure there's nothing that we're going to impinge upon. Okay, and because of the thickness of the lino and the wood below it, we're going to have to clearance it a little bit, make it a little bit thinner, so we can get the gland all the way through. Okay, what our first intention to do here is just take off the first layer of lino, and not too much else. There we go. Now we can drop the clearance hole for the actual gland. And now we're going to drop a 19mm hole through for clearance in the gland. Here, that just needs a bit of a clean up with file. And we'll pop the gland in and terminate the end of the cable with another plug. Okay, so we've put a couple of automotive grade 3-pin plugs on there to run the controller, and we'll just plug that in, and now we'll show you up at the other end where the unit actually is. Alright, now we need to plug in the harness. Now this is what's left of the original harness, and I've used 3 different connectors here so I can't confuse them. Firstly, I'll plug in the fuel pump. Now that's not polarity sensitive, so it doesn't really matter because that's AC. And then we'll plug in the controller. The controller goes into this one here. Again, it's a different plug. And then finally our power is right down the bottom here. Alright, so we've got the 3 connections there, and then we'll connect the harness to the unit itself. Now all that's left at this end is to neaten it up, and we'll start by priming the fuel pump. Okay, so first thing you need to do is set the clock. So press and hold this button, and then we'll move over to the next number. Now it's 9:53 at the moment. And okay, on to the next one. And we'll go to 5 there. And up to 3 there. Okay, so now we just press the OK button. And we scroll through to the password screen. And we give it a second. And eventually it'll revert back to the time. Righto, now that's done, press and hold the bottom button and the OK button. When it comes to the off, press the up button, and now you'll be able to hear the fuel ticking, and we'll go and have a look at the fuel system. And you'll notice a green light at the bottom that tells you the fuel pump is activated and priming. Okay. As you can see here, we put in the standard jerry can with an adapter up the top, and that runs the hose down to the filter, which I'll show you in a second. And don't forget, when it's in use, crack the breather, otherwise you'll create a partial vacuum in there and it won't be able to suck out the diesel. Let's have a look underneath. And continuing under the camp here, you can see the fuel filter that's mounted here, and that's a wire gauze fuel filter, and runs over the other side to the pump, and we'll show you the pump in a sec. And up on this side of the chassis, as you can see, we've mounted the fuel pump in its rubber grommet to an existing hole in the chassis, and then that then feeds into the unit itself. Some do complain a little bit about the ticking noise, so we've mounted it outside for that reason, and also in the rubber isolator, and we'll see how much that annoys Matt in use further down the track. You can see this is the outlet from the fuel pump going up into the unit itself, the fuel line, and we've actually increased the diameter of the cutout in the floor pan. We weren't happy with the clearance. Now this is all dead tree carcasses, and that stuff seems to catch on fire, unlike metal that I'm used to working with. As you can see by the discoloration of the exhaust, it gets rather hot. We've already tested it, and this is the inlet pipe, and we'll show you where we've terminated that. Okay, so this is where we've mounted and terminated the air inlet. Now the idea is, this is the front of the camper this way, so the idea is to stop the crud from building up on the air filter, but may well need to put a bit of a shroud here to stop all the crud when it goes off-road from getting into the air inlet. Okay, and here's the exhaust, clear of the body, and that's important because you don't want any nasties like carbon monoxide getting into the living space, and that then runs down underneath and terminates into the unit itself. Okay, to turn on the unit, we need to push the OK button. That's our current temperature, which is 15 degrees Celsius. Nice balmy day here in Melbourne. And then that's our set temperature, and you can go up and down with that one too. We'll set that to 22 degrees, let's say. Then press the on button again and cycle through till you get to the time. All you need to do, press the power button, and that's it. And it'll regulate automatically to your set temperature. Let's have a look at the exhaust temperature though with the FLIR. Now you might be able to hear the fuel pump running in the background, and as you can see, it's sitting on about 155 to 160 degrees in the outlet of the heater, and the tip of the exhaust is sitting at about 50 degrees. Okay, in conclusion, what do we think about the diesel heater? Well, when you're turning it off, don't forget to turn it up a little bit. Turn it on high, and that'll burn the carbon out, and it'll stop from fouling up the glow plug on you prematurely. Now it does make a bit of noise when you first turn it on and get it up to temperature. However, once you've upped to temperature, it ticks along nice and quietly in the background. And what other options do you have when you're free camping away from power? Well, you can use gas or the diesel heater. Now Matty's car already runs on diesel, so why wouldn't he go with a diesel heater instead of handling more gas? So what do we think? Thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm giving it the big thumbs up. And it disappears out of sight. Works great, reasonably cheap, and anyone with a bit of nous can do a DIY install. Thanks guys for watching the video. Now if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up And if you didn't, give us a thumbs down. Twice. Thanks guys, we'll see you in the next one.